Every civilization that ever gazed at the stars has wondered not only how everything began, but how it will end. The sky, after all, is both cradle and grave. The same stars that once guided humanity's first steps will one day fade into the black. Yet across the ages, every faith, every prophet, every philosopher, from the deserts of Judea to the mountains of Tibet, has whispered the same truth in 1,000 tongues: that this world is not forever. In the Christian vision, the end is both terror and promise. The final book of the Bible, Revelation, opens with thunder and fire, with angels blowing trumpets and seals breaking one by one. It speaks of the stars falling to earth, of a sky that rolls away like a scroll, of a world trembling beneath divine judgment. To some, these are symbols. To others, a literal prophecy of cosmic collapse. Yet through the chaos, a pattern emerges. Destruction is never the last word. After the earth burns, John sees a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. The apocalypse, then, is not only an ending, it is the unveiling of something eternal. Christian mystics like St. Augustine saw it as the final purification of creation, a world freed from decay. The fire that consumes is the same fire that renews. The Jewish imagination of the end is quieter but deeply symbolic. In rabbinic texts, time unfolds like the Sabbath week, 6,000 years of human striving, followed by a 7th millennium of divine rest. It is a cosmic sabbatical, the earth itself returning to its creator. The Zohar, the book of Kabbalistic mysticism, speaks of creation as divine light shattered into fragments, sparks scattered through the material world. The end of days is not apocalypse, but tikkun olam, the restoration of all things, when every spark returns to the infinite. The Ein Sof. Jewish thinkers like Isaac Luria describe this not as annihilation, but reintegration, the universe dissolving back into the unity from which it came. Strangely, this mystic idea mirrors modern cosmology's prediction of entropy, everything returning to uniform stillness, energy, dispersed into a perfect equilibrium. Where physics calls it heat death, the mystic calls it peace. Far to the east, the Hindu cosmology sees not one creation, but infinite cycles of them. Universes born and destroyed in the breath of Brahma, the creator. Time here is vast beyond comprehension. One day of Brahma, one kalpa, lasts 4.32 billion human years. At the end of each day, the universe dissolves into cosmic sleep, and when Brahma awakens, creation begins anew. Within each cycle, humanity moves through 4 ages, the yugas, from the golden age of truth and virtue to the dark age, the Kali Yuga, the age of ignorance and corruption. In this era, dharma weakens, chaos spreads, and the gods themselves withdraw. Yet even this decay has a purpose. When the balance of existence is lost, Vishnu, the preserver, returns as Kalki, the final avatar, to destroy evil and restore harmony. Then Shiva performs his Tandava, the dance of dissolution, reducing all matter to ash and silence. After the flames, Brahma opens his eyes again, and a new creation blooms from the void. The cycle repeats endlessly, like a cosmic heartbeat. Modern astrophysicists might call it the Big Crunch and Big Bang, a universe expanding, collapsing, and reborn. But to the Vedas, this was already written. The Rig Veda says, "There was neither non-existence nor existence then. The one breathed without breath by its own power." For the Hindu seers, even destruction is divine rhythm. Lila, the play of God. Buddhism inherits this vast sense of cosmic time but turns the gaze inward. The Buddha taught that everything that arises must pass away: worlds, suns, bodies, thoughts. The Aganya Sutta describes universes forming, flourishing, and dissolving in endless succession. Each collapse, followed by rebirth, like waves upon the shore of time. When a world ends, it burns with 7 suns, until even the oceans vanish and space is filled with fire. Yet there is no divine wrath here, only the natural law of impermanence. All conditioned things, even universes, are subject to change. In Mahayana thought, entire realms of existence, Buddha worlds, exist simultaneously, each with its own beginning and end. Some collapse while others awaken, suggesting a multiverse of moral and spiritual dimensions. But the truest end of the world, the Buddha said, is not when the earth perishes, it is when ignorance perishes. When illusion burns away, and the mind reaches enlightenment, the universe itself is transcended. What science describes as heat death, Buddhism sees as nirvana, not annihilation, but liberation from the cycle. Long before the Abrahamic faiths, Zoroastrianism offered one of humanity's earliest visions of cosmic finality. In its sacred texts, the Avesta, the universe begins as a battleground between Ahura Mazda, the Lord of Light, and Angra Mainyu, the Spirit of Darkness. Time itself was created to allow this conflict to unfold and be resolved. When the final age arrives, evil will be destroyed in a river of molten metal. The righteous will pass through it unharmed, while the wicked are purified. Then the dead will rise, and the world will be renewed, immortal, perfect, free from decay. This cosmic restoration, called Frashokareti, ends the reign of death itself. Zoroastrianism profoundly shaped later Jewish and Christian eschatology. The ideas of resurrection, final judgment, and the triumph of good over evil all echo this ancient Persian vision. The fire of the end is not vengeance, but renewal, a motif that would later reappear in the Qur'an, where God's light outshines all darkness and the heavens are rolled up like parchment. In the valley of the Nile, the Egyptians imagined a universe sustained by divine order, Ma'at, and threatened by chaos, Isfet. Each night, the sun god Ra sailed through the underworld, battling the serpent Apophis to ensure the dawn would come. But the day Ra failed, the day the serpent won, the cosmos would unravel. Yet even then, rebirth followed. Just as the Nile floods and recedes, creation too was a cycle of death and renewal. The ancient Book of the Dead tells of souls journeying through judgment, weighed against the feather of truth. Those who were pure joined Osiris in eternal life, mirroring the same moral thread found in every vision of the end. The universe ends, but the soul continues. In Greek philosophy, the cosmos itself was alive, a breathing, reasoning being. Heraclitus wrote, "This world neither God nor man made, but it always was and is and shall be, an ever-living fire." To him, fire was the principle of change, the eternal destroyer and creator. Centuries later, the Stoics would build on this, teaching that the universe periodically burns in a cosmic conflagration, an ekpyrosis, only to be reborn exactly as before. This eternal recurrence, later echoed by Nietzsche, suggested that the universe is a perfect loop, forever repeating itself in divine logic. The Greeks did not see apocalypse as punishment, but as balance. The cosmos is a self-correcting system. What decays is reborn. What ends returns in another form. Even in Plato's, Timaeus, the world's soul, though divine, is bound to cycles, perfection arising from imperfection, eternity pulsing through time. In Chinese philosophy, especially Taoism, the universe is not driven by struggle, but harmony. The Tao, the way, is the unseen current that gives birth to all things and draws them back again. Lao Tzu wrote, "Returning is the motion of the Tao." The end, in Taoist cosmology, is not destruction, but return, the merging of yin and yang, light and dark, being and non-being. When balance is lost, the universe simply flows back into the source. There is no wrathful God, no judgment, only transformation. This vision, though serene, resonates with modern cosmology's quietest possibility: the heat, death of the universe. Not a fiery apocalypse, but an eternal stillness. Energy balanced, perfectly, motion ceasing, the cosmos dissolving into tranquility. What physicists describe as thermodynamic equilibrium, Taoists called harmony. Among the Hopi people of North America, prophecy speaks of worlds before ours, worlds destroyed by fire, ice, and flood. Each ended when humanity lost its balance with nature. We now live in the fourth world, already fraying under the weight of greed and disconnection. Yet even here, hope remains. The Hopi say the fifth world will emerge after purification, guided by those who remember the old harmony between humans, Earth, and the Great Spirit. Their myth carries the same truth as every other. The world dies not because it must, but because we forget how to live. In the north, the Norse sagas speak of Ragnarok, the fate of the gods. The wolf Fenrir breaks his chains, the serpent Jormungandr rises from the sea, and the sky burns as the gods fall in battle. The sun and moon are devoured, the world sinks beneath the waves. Yet from the ocean's quiet surface, a new earth rises, green, pure, and untouched. Two humans, Leif and Lifthrasir, emerge from the trunk of the world tree to begin again. Even in this tale of doom, the pattern of rebirth holds true. The universe ends only to breathe again. Across all these traditions, the same melody plays beneath different words. Destruction is a doorway. Whether it is the fire of revelation, the dance of Shiva, the Tao's return, or the heat, death of physics, each describes the same eternal movement, from form to formlessness, from being to becoming. In the language of faith, it is judgment. In the language of science, entropy. In the language of philosophy, renewal. Every vision agrees that the end is not meaningless. It is part of the same intelligence that brought the cosmos into being. Perhaps this is why even the cold equations of physics echo with poetry. The second law of thermodynamics, that energy moves from order to disorder, is also a reminder that everything, even the stars, must one day rest. The cosmologists who describe the universe collapsing in a big crunch or tearing apart in a big rip are unknowingly retelling the same story sung by prophets and poets. And perhaps, just as the ancients believed, what follows that end may not be silence, but another beginning. When the Qur'an says, "On that day, the earth will be changed to another earth, and the heavens as well," and Revelation echoes, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth." It is as though two mirrors face each other across time, reflecting the same truth. Hindu seers called it the rebirth of Brahma. The Stoics called it ekpyrosis. The Hopi called it the fifth world. Physicists call it a new universe born from quantum fluctuation. Different languages, one destiny. And so, the story of the universe may not end in darkness after all. The fire, the silence, the stillness, all may be preludes to another breath of creation. What began with light may end not with extinction, but with remembrance, the universe folding back into the divine thought that dreamed it. The cosmos may die, yes, but perhaps only the way a seed dies before it flowers.